Ramin Asghar, former US diplomat, we spoke a little bit earlier before the announcement of this interim agreement. He's a member of the Atlantic Council Iran Task Force. He's a former US diplomat, as I mentioned, and journalist, and he's on the line now. What do you make of the announcement that a deal has been reached, albeit an interim agreement?
Well, thank you. I mean, it's obviously a very important step forward. As you have pointed out and your guests have pointed out, implementation will be critical. And one of the big concerns is that the Iranians don't take this deal, pocket the deal, and then have all of the international consensus on enforcing the many existing sanctions fall apart. So I expect to see a period of time in which sanctions will be pretty rigorously maintained, which are most of the sanctions are, of course, still in place, while the rest of the negotiation goes forward to something a little bit more durable.
What does the United States ultimately want from Iran? Does it still want to have regime change, or is this a regime it can learn to live with?
I think the idea that the president has said that regime change is not the policy of the United States at this point. So I think that, in a sense, the regime more or less changed itself via the election that took place back last summer, and has really made a lot of strides to genuinely do some productive things. Many problems remain, but moving forward, it seems that the regime change approach is no longer really in the repertoire. That doesn't mean it's not capable of being resuscitated, but right now progress is being made along the diplomatic front.
And Iran is still a state sponsor of terrorism in many official circles. We're hearing suggestions that perhaps this interim deal, should it work and still be working 6 months from now and lead to greater agreements, might actually provide some kind of template or a benchmark for solving Middle East crises in the future and bringing Iran into the international community of nations more than it already is.
Right, absolutely. I mean, this is seen as a first step. The many issues that involve terrorism and support of groups that oppose developing some sort of more productive relationship with Israel-Palestine, as well as some of the other activities that Iran is engaged in, those are still issues that need to be addressed. But obviously the most acute problem that was facing the region was the nuclear issue, and at least at present, it looks like there's progress on that very high priority issue.